Making no specific policy demands, XR's third demand, Beyond Politics, is a powerful and popular slogan used by the group demanding climate change justice decisions to be led by the citizens rather than the government, hence why the movement presents itself as a movement of the people, of everyone. This demand shows the engagement of power between citizens and the government, and also shows the type of change they want to make, power to the people. However, the Beyond Politics demand provides a weakness to their movement, because without engaging with higher levels of power in our capitalist system, the large-scale transformative change demanded will not happen. Reid has spoken about targeting London City Airport over Heathrow because it is disproportionately used by richer people, businesses, private jets, and to send the message, the rich aren't going to get away with it. However, in order to remove any misapprehensions, Reid has explained the approach.
It simply is a fact that the rich and the elites are going to have to change more than the rest of us if we're actually going to make it through this, and if it's actually going to work.
Conventional campaigning is not working. The scale of the climate change problem is much larger than this. Instead, mass economic destruction is required. Getting arrested is a popular strategy of XR. By November 2019, nearly 10,000 people had signed up to XR saying they were willing to get arrested. Roger Hallam, the group's co-founder, stated that 90% of people, 90% of the time, can take this step. However, the tactic has been criticised heavily within the media, reflecting the lack of diversity within the group. The luxury of thinking far into the future is not one afforded to some class in the minority. The notion of getting arrested is portrayed as uncomfortable for people of colour given the adverse experience communities have faced with the police in the past. Hallam has responded to the criticism saying, "Thousands of people from all backgrounds can do it, and the excuses are just due to unfounded fears." We can now ask ourselves, is this too white and too middle class? The climate movement must reflect the complex realities of everyone's lives within their narrative. Therefore, XR's primary strategy of getting arrested must be underlined by an ongoing analysis of privilege. Despite the argument made by an XR protester that what you see on the street is not what happens behind the scenes, the lack of diversity is not just shown in the protests and marches of the group, but within the dynamic structure of the organisation. The percentage of minorities employed as staff or on the board of the organisation didn't exceed 16% in 2019. We devised 4 questions addressing the criticisms and asked 2 XR representatives for their insights into the issue.
I would say that the statement about being too white and too middle class is simultaneously accurate and unhelpful. So, on the one hand, demographically speaking, there's definitely a slide towards the white middle class. Yeah. On the other hand, the tactics that we use absolutely require a certain amount of privilege to be done without too much damage. I personally don't see the problem with people who have power in society and have that privilege to be able to go out and aggravate the police, for example, without suffering the consequences too massively, or people who can afford to take annual leave to go on week-long roadblocks. I don't see why people shouldn't utilise that privilege in service of keeping the planet habitable.
It's important to communicate much more humility, to not assume we've understood everybody's life world and everybody's reality, and to be much more, to train ourselves much more in listening and exploring other people's realities and concerns. And we're all in this together, so we need to find also a way of bringing about change that brings everybody together. We
don't have time to be saying, oh no, we'll try and be more inclusive if it means more people suffer and the job we have is harder. If it means we are less effective as an organisation, and it might not, it certainly means our voice would have more legitimacy.
XR's tactics can be described as designed by and for the middle class. This video has so far attempted to explore the by, but we now shift in an attempt to concentrate on the for. For Indigenous peoples across the globe, entire livelihoods and historical culture that depend on access to land and natural resources are being threatened with extinction. Yet Extinction Rebellion fails to recognise these, or any other global justice issues, in any of their demands, beyond concern over the UK annual contribution to global emissions output. This is why the inclusion of Indigenous peoples and other ethnic minorities in the climate change movement is so vitally important. The continued Eurocentric nature of the Extinction Rebellion movement that has coined it the term climate colonialism, the notion that the West may save itself at the expense of developing nations. Responses to the aforementioned criticisms seem to simply reflect what we have discussed in the lack of diversity within the group, rather than any action to improve the issues. Several group members have called for the UK XR to adopt the US XR's fourth demand. The demand was created for transformative change within their group tackling problems of racial justice and oppression structures, but is yet to be implemented in the UK. The next actions taken will be crucial to ensuring that the group is working towards a just transformation towards sustainability. The concept of social justice in this process has been explicitly regarded until recently. The acknowledgements have been made. Now it's time for action.